Hey guys, so for today, I'm just going to be doing a full leg workout, and I just thought that I could walk you through some of the stuff that I'll be doing within it. It's a pretty easy week today. It's a deload week, so relatively lighter intensity. But in between sets, I thought that maybe I could share in some insights on kind of what I do with athletes, maybe some of my philosophies, and yeah, maybe some of the things that I'm currently doing in terms of physio and strength and conditioning to potentially help you guys out a little bit further. Or yeah, so yeah, I'm just gonna start with a quick little warm up. Super simple. I don't really overcomplicate my warm up. I just try to get the body loosen out a little, and then do a quick little barbell warm up before getting into my first set. So let's get into it. So I usually just start with like some kind of toe touches, try to get the hamstrings a little warm with it. Pretty simple, maybe like 10 to 15 reps. I try to make my warm up as super simple as possible. Usually if there's a sled, like on some days I do a zawal for like 5 minutes, just try to get the blood flowing. I've got the cardio pumping a little, try to get the legs a little bit warmer. And then after I kind of get straight into these kind of deep squats, just try to really get the knee joint moving a little, get the hips moving, get the ankles a little bit more warm. And as I get a little bit better, usually I just try to do it unassisted. But yeah, there's been people recently who's been asking about a lot of ankle sprains or dealing with just kind of injuries and what they can kind of do when they're dealing with one, right? Most people would just kind of rest for the whole period of time, and at some point they will actually get just because they're not actually giving a good stimulus to their body during that period. Because let's say if I sprain a right ankle, most people would just take 2 or 3 weeks completely off, but with me, or with some of the stuff that I've learned, I think it will be much better if you just try to get yourself moving, even if it's daily walking. Try to get the ankles moving in the open chain, maybe some ankle up and down dorsiflexion, plantar flexion, so just point up and down, eversion, inversion, right? You don't even need the bands, just try to get the ankle moving a little bit better, right? And then, yeah, usually I try to challenge the other parts of the body as well, because I mean, it's just the ankle being injured, so you can still kind of hit a upper body workout. You can still try to get the hips moving a little bit better, so try to look the other leg, to just work on maybe some strength work, like pistol squats will be good, maybe some leg extensions. You can still bang it out on both legs, and yeah, like my philosophy is just try to get it moving, do some active recovery for it, and just don't try to rest for the whole period of time when you're actually injured, because when you actually try to get back onto the court or onto the pitch after, it's going to be super tough when your body is just feeling like, when your body basically has no muscular tension, and it could be leading to another injury after as well, since your body's probably pretty not prepared for it. So I feel like there's quite a common issue that I see, and a question that just brings that gets brought up a lot, and I thought maybe some super simple advice like this would be super useful to just kind of discuss about. If you're dealing with ankle or knee injuries, sometimes the best thing is not just resting, but try to get it moving a little bit, to introduce some isometrics, some movements in there to help the injured part to heal a little better. So now onto some barbell warm-up stuff. Usually do it pretty simple, some overhead press, and then some clean stuff, because I'll be doing some power stuff today, so Olympic lifting stuff to kind of start it off. Some back squats and front squats, just super simple so you get the body moving. Now that the warm-up is over, I'm basically going to be doing power cleans today. I'm going to be doing some power doubles, so I'm trying to get as heavy as possible. I'll be able to maintain some good form. I'm gonna be using this VBT device as well. Just try to track the bar speed and just try to maximize my power output on each rep. Pretty good advice, pretty portable, pretty convenient, just when you're basically training yourself. And I quite enjoy it a lot, especially I do a lot of the training on my own. I don't really usually have a partner. And yeah, I mean, just try to track as much data as possible, and even using with some of my clients when they're doing back squats or when they're doing movements, right? Just try to track their power output. Always good to have more data than less, and just giving them the feedback of what their bar speed is like and telling them to accelerate the bar a bit more. Always just try to drive a little bit more intent out of the rep instead of just kind of slowly getting out of it. So they're just trying to have something that they could beat their old score from. And yeah, I find it really pretty useful for my in-person clients. So we're gonna start here, some pretty simple power doubles. I don't power clean a lot. I mean, in terms of like the numbers, so I gotta really work on it. Currently my max power clean is like 95 kg, and I think it has been better. I haven't tested my max in a while, but I think for doubles, I'm aiming for, if I can do 85, that'll be pretty good. But we're aiming for at least 80 for it. So we're just gonna jump straight to the reps. Forgot about that. Getting clipped off, so maybe a little lower so it doesn't get attracted away. And I'm sure most athletes are thinking like, you know, Olympic lifting, they've probably heard quite a lot about it, and I was as well, in terms of like, I think it really does help with your athletic performance and athletic development. But especially let's just talk about purely basketball players. There is like a reward to it where you're able to learn how to yield an external mass onto your body. You're able to produce that force, so super quick triple extension into immediate triple flexion to kind of really catch the bar. That's a skill that you don't really get to test often with most settings with the bar, and power clean is probably the only thing, or Olympic lifting is generally the only thing that kind of gives you that stimulus. But if you're an athlete who is just trying to get better for basketball in terms of that sense, I don't feel like it's necessary for it, just because it's quite technical. You need to take a bit of time in the off season to kind of really hone in on it. Sometimes you might actually have some wrist issues, and wrist issues could be super annoying, especially for basketball players where you got to shoot the ball, and it has definitely messed up with mine previously. So of course, if you know what you're doing, I think this would be really, really good, and you definitely need like an Olympic coach or someone who is more efficient in it to kind of learn the techniques for it. Even for me right now, I'm still just a novice, I'm just a beginner. I'm still learning quite a bit of stuff, but it's definitely gotten much better over the past year or so. But yeah, like it's great for power output, but if you really want to become more athletic, I think you're just going outside to sprint fast, right? Really try to drive up your speed, trying to play tag with your friends, play with your teammates, or someone, you know, to try to push your speed limit, and trying to really just go out there and jump high at the end of that spectrum, whether it's 2 foot or 1 foot. Those would probably develop your power quite much more and become a little bit more specific to your sport. All right, so right now we're just gonna add up a little bit, and then just gonna do a double, and we're gonna keep going up until probably around 80, and then we're gonna yeah, just keep it going for it. So that was 0.88 and 0.92, solid numbers. Just got to keep trying to drive the bar up with the speed. So now onto the third set. Probably we'll be doing maybe 6 sets of 2. Try to get maybe around 3 to 4 good working sets. So probably gonna start counting at around 70, 75 as the first set, and then just gonna get a few good work sets. That people ask me about is like where I learned most of my stuff from, how do I get started working with pro athletes in Hong Kong or even around the globe, how I kind of developed my kind of reputation by the age of 23 right now. I think like it's a really good question. Sometimes I don't even know how it started, but I think it definitely started with me and Oliver, where I was trying to just help him become stronger, help him move better, and most importantly, just try to help with his defense. I didn't think about, when I was back in Hong Kong, I didn't think about doing more basketball stuff. I was actually gonna give up on basketball kind of almost entirely. I was only gonna play maybe casually, like very casually, and yeah, I was just gonna be a physiotherapist, like what I studied back at the UK. But since he reached out to me once I was back, we just kind of went straight to work before his ABO season in Eastern. And since then, yeah, things just kind of spiraled. I was at a private clinic, and then I just kind of decided to do freelance after working with him, so I have more time to do some of his on-court training and some of the weight room work as well, doing some online programming with clients. And now, yeah, and then just one thing came down to another. I've just kept trying to educate myself in terms of like the physio side with like online education, trying to learn with like in-person workshops as well. Invested quite a bit of money into those stuff. And also with the strength and conditioning side is just trying to learn from some of the best. I think like most of my spending is actually on education. I don't really socialize too much. I don't really go out too much for like meals or dinners. So yeah, I've been basically kind of locked in terms of the process, and just trying to become one of the better physios and strength and conditioning coach in Asia. I'm hoping to do that at some point. I mean, it's a big goal, but it's always good to have some big goals to aspire of. PJF definitely is a big factor or a big influence on what I'm doing right now, but I just want to take it up with another notch with the biomechanics stuff, the helping people, of course, like get better or like become get out of injuries and pain, and just figure out their issues whilst and then afterwards basically having a good path or like a continuation from rehab to performance. So definitely a big inspiration and goal, but I guess just gotta keep chipping it one bit at a time to gonna get to where I want to be. Yeah, so weight today kind of feels a little heavier than usual. Might be the weather, might be my sleep and recovery, but starting to feel pretty heavy, so I'll probably stick to 80 just for today, and trying to get a few good sets in, and maybe I'll get even more potentiated after, so we'll see how it goes. But I think I'm feeling like it's close to it, so just try to get a few good reps without my form breaking down and able to catch the bar. Try to maximize the gains today, and afterwards, after this few sets, we'll be moving on to some slow back squats, slow kind of RDLs, and some hip thrust. Oh, that was a good rep. Almost didn't catch that, but was able to brace hard and catch it at the end. So second rep definitely wasn't as good, but first rep was a good win. So I just got to keep at it, maybe do 1 to 2 more sets. And in terms of whether I'm like a physio or strength and conditioning or even like basketball skills trainer, I think I'm kind of juggling between these 3 things. I'll definitely say, training others is what I really find joy in terms of seeing their progress. and just kind of honing on the techniques, the form, and then kind of programming what they need to do after as well, based on what they've been doing. But rehabbing in terms of like physio and just trying to get them out of pain ASAP and seeing like the immediate progress, that's pretty satisfying, and it gives me like a gratification or sense of like it gives me a self-identity in terms of where I'm at, how I'm able to help them, and yeah, making meaningful changes in their life, whether they play sports or just in their daily life. So physio, I'm able to kind of see that more immediately, but with training, it's kind of more like a long-term investment, maybe like at least a few months to kind of then see good progress with it. Of course, if you're a newbie, you'll be getting newbie gains, but for most people, in terms of like long-term wise, yeah, I think both sides will have their own thing, and I don't think I'm able to kind of just go all in on one at the moment. I feel like it's not really my thing. I can't stay in the clinic for 8 or 9 hours a day anymore. I'd rather be juggling of things here and there. So maybe like training for a few sessions, and then like physio for a few sessions, maybe skills training for like 1 to 2 sessions to just get myself moving a little bit better. And yeah, just trying to adapt into things a little bit differently. But definitely most of the education is now currently on the physio and strength and conditioning side. So yeah, I think those are the things that I'll probably hone in on the master on first, to kind of get a good base before I kind of start to expand maybe into other stuff. Cool, we'll do 1 or 2 more sets. Let's just see how it goes. That was a great rep. Bar went straight up. Felt that pretty well. Let's see the second rep, because usually when I do doubles or triples, my form starts to get worse, and it doesn't hone in as well. So doing these doubles will really help me with refining my techniques a bit more at a sub-maximal weight. The bar went a little forward with that. Just gonna try it again, and I just gotta duck down a little faster. Use probably my hips to throw through the bar out, so it kind of went forward. That's kind of like a common mistake that I've had since I've started doing cleans or even like power cleans, is always do my hips to kind of just throw the bar forward, but you kind of want to just be a little bit more patient to kind of explode out. So we're gonna do 1 more rep, just see how it goes, and if it doesn't go well, I'm just gonna rest again, 1 more set, and I'm gonna call it. This is basically the first time I've been recording my whole workout, and then just sharing this video with you guys. So I mean, if there's anything that you guys want me to discuss, or if you got any questions, I want to use kind of this time to just address some of those. I know there's a lot of questions on Douyin or like on Instagram, but I just want to see what questions are the ones that pop out the most, and try to address it in a more detailed compared to just Instagram, because Instagram, at the end of the day, it's pretty hard to explain myself a lot. I only have like 20 or 30 seconds, or maybe sometimes even like just 10 seconds to kind of explain something that it might take me hours to kind of do so, or like not hours, but like maybe just longer to do so, to kind of get really in depth with it. But yeah, so that's why YouTube is probably the way moving forward. I want to dive into the space a little bit more as well, to give you some of the information that I'm learning and also learned before. I mean, I'm not an expert in anything. I'm just kind of maybe a little bit more ahead in terms of my knowledge, just maybe a few steps ahead. So yeah, so hopefully I can just, you know, address that gap that you're currently having and just get you kick started with your progress and whatever question you got. So I think another thing that I've got a lot is like jumper's knee pain, patellar tendon pain. There's a lot of information on that in the internet, especially the GOAT, Jake Tura. He's the king of patellar tendinopathies. You can definitely check out his programs. I think it's called, can't remember what the program is called, but he has a jumper's knee program that he kind of created, and it's pretty good. It's pretty cheap as well if you need it, or you can just check my also like a Gains Chamber community. There's also the tendon health program in there to kind of help you out. But yeah, like Jake Tour, he does a lot of tendon stuff like Achilles or mostly patellar, but also like some Achilles stuff. You can listen to his podcast. He has loads of videos on YouTube, so definitely check that out. PJF also has some stuff on knee tendon health in general, which is mostly going to come down to like workload management. So maybe managing your on-court volume, like on basketball, maybe trying to minimize that a little bit, maybe doing some more of the strength work, which is slow, to kind of rebuild that tendon more. And yeah, like knee pain can be a little bit complicated at times. It could also be like a tibial internal external rotation if you've done with surgery. But if we're talking purely about like the tendon, usually it's about isometrics, then slow loading, then a little bit of fast loading, and then like return to sport plyometrics. So we're gonna do one more set, and then let's just see how it goes. Ooh. Bar went a little forward. I was definitely able to catch that. Oh, fuck. I miscaught that once again. Hand position, I think my fingers kind of released during it. So yeah, I'm just gonna call it there, and then we're gonna move on to some back squats. So yeah, going to be doing some slow tempo squats with 4 seconds down, and then trying to accelerate the bar up. Trying to just go do it for kind of tendon health. Just trying to keep it simple. Just trying to maintain some of my strength gains. Not really trying to break through or trying to push myself too hard. Around that 70-80% zone with the intensity. And yeah, with me, my ankle has been kind of like tweaking lately. There wasn't like a specific sprain mechanism, which is the worst thing, because like somehow my talus just shifted forward, and it's been kind of giving me issues for the past few weeks, but kind of recently got it much better with my sensei's help, with some manual technique and like some acupuncture. So now it doesn't feel as blocked anymore. But after, once it kind of gets serious, it still kind of feels a little bit pinched. But before it was maybe like a 5 out of 10. Now it's currently like a 2 out of 10 pinch, or maybe sometimes even 1 out of 10. And yeah, so it's been feeling way better. So that's why I know that with that issue, no matter how much I kind of strengthen my ankles for it, because the bone is basically misaligned, so whatever I did in terms of rehab, it will be pretty tough to get it much better. And yeah, so sometimes you actually really do need a manual therapist or someone to kind of help you out with some manual therapy to kind of get it much better. So now I'm moving on to the second set. Gonna be trying to push for 110 for 5 reps with 4 seconds down. Let's just see how it goes. It's probably gonna be pretty tough, but just gonna get one or two hard working sets for this, and then after this we're gonna be doing some RDLs, which is also gonna be slow tempo for a few sets before we move on to the indoor weight room, where they have the hip thrust machine and the Smith machine to kind of work on calves and hips a little bit more. So yeah, just so you guys know the routine of what we're doing. Ooh. So yeah, that was pretty tough. Gonna be a bit out of breath for it. Whew. And then now we're gonna move on to 4 sets of 3. Gonna be a bit lightheaded there. But yeah, we'll be trying to get 4 sets of 3, probably around 80 to 100 kg, working up. And after that, we're gonna be moving up. Forgot to bring wrist strap today, so I'm gonna do a pure grip with my hands, so let's see how it goes. Might be tough on terms of grip, but gonna be doing 4 seconds down, so tempo is 4-0x0 for 3 reps, and just trying to maintain good form. And one issue, I just thought there's a pro tip or pro bonus guys tip for you guys if you guys made it to this video, is or the part of the video. So we've probably seen most people kind of rounding their lower back when they're doing like RDL or maybe even deadlift. One really good tip is to really just squeeze your armpit as hard as possible, so really squeezing those lats, because once you actually tighten up those lats, right, eventually, right, your chest is going to be in a good position, your lower back is also going to be in a better position. All right, so I feel like this, you know, the upper body usually solves the issue on its own with the spine as well, instead of just trying to tell them to like tilt it up and then they start to like arch their ribs a little bit too much and their back is like kind of in this spinal flexion. You want to really try to keep those ribs a little bit down, right, so that your ribs are stacked right on top of the pelvis, right, in terms of like this angle where it's neutral. So just think about squeezing the lats hard, right, really hard. Like think about there's a hand in between your armpits, right, you're not letting that arm to get out of it. Yeah, so pro tip for you guys if you need help with RDLs. So now we're going to be headed into the indoor weight room for some calf raises and hip thrust. I probably won't be doing my voiceover or like recording anymore, but I'll just show you a few sets of what I'm going to be doing in the weight room. So if you're interested in kind of more content like these, please drop a comment, let me know. If you got any questions about training or in terms of like skills training for basketball, or even on core performance on what you need to be doing better, or if you're dealing with some injuries and some stuff that you haven't been able to figure out, just drop in the comment below. I will always be paying attention to those. I'll be basically liking all of them and replying to most of them. So yeah, I'll actually will be seeing those comments. I won't be leaving them just unread. I read through them and I really take all of your into considerations. So if you got more questions or things that you kind of want to comment on, let me know, and hopefully you guys kind of like this type of content, and stay tuned for more.